Jason Lane here, Media Day, Las Vegas 51's. First of all, how do you like the heat here in the summer?
It's better in the cold. No, it gets a little warm, but I'd rather it be hot than cold. That's for sure.
I'm amazed at, now you played in New Orleans too, do you prefer a dry heat or the mugginess?
I guess I'd say the dry heat probably.
Let's go over it. It seems like recently there's been a lot about unwritten rules in baseball. First of all, earlier this year in spring training, it was 3-0. It was a blowout. I forget who it was. Some guy swung, got a hit. I mean, why? When you're up there, you don't want to give away at bats. What's the unwritten rule that if you're up so much, you can't swing on a 3-0 pitch?
I just think it's about respect of the game, respect of your opponents, and you know, when you're already up quite a bit in a situation like that, you don't want to rub it in. They're kind of conceding by just trying to throw strikes, and you know, at 3-0 you kind of have them cornered, and you're already beating them up pretty good. It's just not looking upon real well. So it's part about respecting your opponents and the game, I think.
Of course, you got a yo-yo like me who's playing fantasy baseball. All I'm doing is, come on, Jason, jack one out of the park. We don't care about the respect of the game.
Yeah, the fantasy deals definitely ups the interest level to certain people, but you still have to respect the game and play the game the right way. And I think it's most guys who've been around should know that.
So give me the other time a guy cut across the back of the mound, just to go back to the dugout. There's another rule that you're just, I mean, it's unwritten, but you guys know not to do it?
No, I don't know. I mean, I've never run directly across the mound. I mean, I think that a lot of times something like that can just rub a guy the wrong way, or the perception of it can be taken the wrong way, and it's pretty easy to miss the mound when you're jogging back. But usually, if you run right over the top, I would think a pitcher would probably think there's some sort of message behind that, and it is what it is, I guess. But it's not something I ever do.
What kind of superstitions, if any, do you have?
I try to stay away from superstitions. I mean, I've seen a lot, but there's nothing I can think of that I try to do every time or don't do every time.
What's the craziest one you've seen? You don't have to mention the player, but just...
I've seen guys, they don't get any hits, change all their bats out in the middle of the game, or change their shoes, and set their glove on the steps the same exact way every time. And just little things like that seem to be, to me, would be a little more stressful or cause more anxiety than the game already does itself. So I try to stay away from it.
Playing all over, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in the stands? I mean, you've got to look at it sometimes, especially around the outfield, checking out something. Anything wacky?
No, nothing that stands out. I mean, played in winter ball, and you see some different things down there, but nothing that stands out that I can think of, other than people jumping on the field and the game being stopped and then having to get removed from the field. That can get a little interesting at times. So I've seen that a handful of times.
That happened in Philadelphia where somebody jumped on the field and I believe they tased them. And I'm sorry, I think the safety of the players and the umpires. If you jump out on the field, I've been to games many times, I must have been inebriated a few times too. I never in my life have thought of jumping out. I look at that and I go, you know what, if somebody jumps out on the field, they don't know what's going on. I can't blame security for taking measures like that.
Yeah, especially when in the past some guys have been attacked and not seen it coming. I mean, if one guy's been attacked, you have to assume every time someone goes out there that could happen. And the players and coaches and umpires, they have the right to feel safe out there, and they're doing their jobs. And so sometimes security has to act a little forcefully, and it gets ugly and it looks bad. But like you said, what could be possibly going through someone's mind to want to do that? And I always wonder, as soon as it's over with, is that few seconds really worth it? Having to spend the night in the league or wherever they got to stay, it just does not seem worth it to me. But there's always someone who's trying it.
Now you're probably too young. I would say the one exception. Do you remember way back when Morgana the Kissing Bandit?
I've seen highlights. I mean, I've never seen it in person, but I've seen highlights of that. So, I wouldn't think they'd be real forceful on her, but
something tells me now she'd be coming out in a walker though.
yeah. Those days, her days are probably done doing that, I would think.
Coming out in the Little Rascals. I'm going to get you, Jason. What are your goals for this year?
Just to have competitive at bats, play hard, have quality at bats, and I want to get back to the big leagues. I'm fortunate to spend some time there, and the always to get back.